Hello and welcome to another edition of Career Magic. Today I'm going to talk about a very important aspect of emotional intelligence. It's called impulse control, and it has an impact on a whole range of things we do and has a major bearing on our effectiveness as individuals in our personal lives and in our work lives. Have you ever made a decision in an excited state or in a state where you had some negative emotions running through you and it turned out to be suboptimal and you regretted it later? Have you ever written an email in anger or said something in anger to someone and later regretted it because it impacted your relationships? Impulse control has an impact on a number of things. And so we are going to talk today about three major areas of our work lives where impulse control or the lack thereof has an impact. And then I will talk about a few strategies on how to start developing it. Because remember, emotional intelligence is something we can all learn and get better at as we go through our lives. In 1972, there was an experiment conducted in Stanford University. This was a psychological experiment conducted with children. So these were 5-6-year-old kids. The way the experiment was conducted was that a child would be called into a room and asked to sit on a chair with a table in front of them. And on the table, another person, an adult who was talking to them, would place a marshmallow. A marshmallow is a sweet candy, very popular in the United States. It's a sweet candy that kids really love. So this person would place a marshmallow in front of the child and say that, hey, I'm going to put this marshmallow in front of you and I'm going to go away for some time. And when I come back, if you have not eaten that marshmallow, I will give you another one, so you will have two. But if you eat it before I come, then you will not get the second marshmallow. Now this is an experiment. This is an exercise for the child in delaying gratification. If the child can hold off from the temptation of eating that marshmallow, he or she would be rewarded with another marshmallow. So they actually get two. The reward gets doubled. So it's an exercise in impulse control, in resisting temptation, in delaying gratification. What the experimenters found, as you would expect, is that some children were able to delay gratification and got two marshmallows, but a larger proportion, almost 2/3, were not able to delay the gratification and ate the marshmallow before the person arrived. Now that's fine. That is what you would expect. But that is not where the experiment ended. After this, they tracked these children through their lives to see what happens. Is there a correlation between delaying gratification and what happens to a person through their life? What they found was very, very interesting. They found that the children who delayed gratification, about 1/3 of them, had better success metrics through their lives. What are success metrics? They had better grades in school in a statistically significant manner. They had they were healthier. So as they went through their lives, they had better BMI, body mass index. They were happier. They were less prone to other problems in life and so on. So the kids who were able to delay gratification had better success metrics. Now, why does this happen? Why does delaying gratification our ability to delay gratification result in better success metrics? Well, for the simple reason that delaying gratification means that we are bringing to bear, we are not giving in to our impulses. We are taking a step back, thinking about what we are doing and making a decision by considering potential future outcomes and then choosing the right option to give us the best outcome in the future. So the ability to do that has a large bearing on success. Now, as I said, I want to talk about 3 different areas of our lives where this has an impact. The first one is just managing time. If you look at people who are very successful, manage their time really well. Managing time actually is a misnomer. What they do is they are able to deploy their time in the pursuit of their priorities. Now, why does impulse control help in better time management? For 2 reasons. The first reason is that it prevents us from veering off into pleasant activities which are not a priority whenever we run into a difficulty or run into a roadblock. So if I'm doing something, if I am working on a presentation that I need to make, and I'm running into a problem, if I give up on it and then just say, okay, I'm going to go watch, I really like watching TED videos, I'm going to go watch a couple of TED videos and then do this, and I keep doing that, I will then use up my time in activities that are not moving me towards my priorities. These are just activities that are pleasant. So I enjoy them in the moment, but they do not lead me to my goals, to the outcomes that I desire. So I essentially end up wasting time because of a lack of impulse control. The second way the lack of impulse control hurts me with respect to how I utilize my time is interruptions. If we give in to interruptions, so if I am at my desk in my office and working on something really important, and a friend, I call this the tap on the shoulder, a friend comes and taps me on the shoulder and says, hey Nitin, come, let's go for a cup of coffee. And I just get up and go. I have interrupted myself, and now my time management is less than optimal, because interruptions, as we all know, are the worst enemy of productivity. Another classic case of something interrupting us is the Outlook pop-up, the little Outlook notifier that many of us have on our laptops. And whenever it pops up, we are tempted to look at it, but we do not switch it off because of the fact that we want to stay attached to that. We are also tempted from time to time to look at our WhatsApp messages, check out Instagram and what is happening on social media, or the cricket score. And these interruptions, because of the lack of impulse control, make us less productive and therefore make us less effective in reaching our goals. So how do you fight this? How do you train your mind in this particular instance to not give in to these impulses? One very easy way, I work with a lot of kids because we have a software product that helps high school kids do better. And when I'm working with them, I find that many of them have bad attention spans, particularly if they are dealing with something that they don't like or is unpleasant or difficult. So I talk to them about this technique. I didn't invent it, I learned of it. This technique is called the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is meant to give us the ability to focus on one task for a period of time, for a defined period of time, with absolutely no interruptions. So in the Pomodoro technique, you use your smartphone, you have a timer on it, set it to half an hour, and do something that needs to be done by making sure that you do not give in to any interruptions whatsoever. Even if your phone rings, you don't give in. Someone comes and wants to talk to you or take you away somewhere, you say no, you just focus for half an hour. And then slowly start increasing this. Use the Pomodoro technique to focus, because focusing on a meaningful task for a period of time is one of the core principles of effective deployment of your time. So use the Pomodoro technique and see if you can train your mind. Another technique is meditation. I'm not going to spend the time here to talk about how to meditate, but meditation is an exercise for the mind. So just like by going to the gym and working out, we exercise our body. By doing meditation, we can actually exercise our mind muscle and train it to stay attentive to a particular task or a particular job that we are working on for a period of time. Try these two things, see if you can do better with impulse control with respect to your time management. The second area where lack of impulse control really hurts us is in decision making. Often, so making good decisions under emotional conditions, when the decisions have an emotional component, is another important part of emotional intelligence. For example, if you are evaluating your team for performance and you really like one or two people for whatever reasons, and they haven't done that well, it's really hard sometimes for us to be very objective and make the right call and say, I need to give them developmental feedback, even though I like them. That has nothing to do with how they are doing in their tasks, and I'm going to rate them fairly. But sometimes that's hard for us to do. So how do we do this sort of thing? Another way it hurts us is when we get really excited about something, a car or a new house that we are buying. Something about it really excites us, and we end up not making an objective decision, but make a decision because of something that we don't even fully understand, and then regret it later. So how do you not give in to impulse control when making decisions? How can you get better at it? So one way to do it is what is called creating distance between you and the decision. So one is that you sleep over it. Create distance in terms of time. The second is you get another opinion. Okay? Get another opinion. Then what happens is another perspective when it comes in, which does not have the same emotional content. So for example, when you're evaluating your team and if you notice that there is an emotional content in this decision and you do need to be a little careful, talk to someone, talk to a peer, talk to your manager, talk to someone about this decision and see if how you are making it is right. Get their opinion on what you are doing. That's another wonderful way to actually to bring in more objectivity in the decision. The other thing to do is to follow a process, a defined process. So when you are doing something, if you follow a series of steps, so for example, if you are trying to buy something, create a list of things that are important to you and then evaluate what you are doing against that list. It brings in a little more objectivity, puts things in perspective, and then you're likely to make better decisions. The third area that lack of impulse control can hurt us with is relationships. What happens is that, in the workplace and at home, disagreements are a part of life. Whenever we are trying to do something really important, we will have disagreements, and they are a good thing if handled well. But when there is a disagreement, if the stakes are high, it tends to make us emotional. And when that happens, we either shy away from having that conversation, shy away from being assertive, or we say something in an emotionally charged way that leads to a damage in the relationship. So let me just give you a very simple example. You get an email that makes you really angry. Now, if you respond to that email immediately in anger and copy a few other people, including your manager, guess what? It's actually going to lead to an email war and damaged relationships. Instead of that, if you take a step back and say, I'm not going to react to this in an emotional state, I'm going to take a step back and then I'm going to look at it, perhaps after I have calmed down a little bit. So sleep over it, tackle it tomorrow. Someone says something to you that makes you angry. Take a step back and don't react in anger. Don't act on the emotion, okay, immediately. Take a step back and see. So one technique that I learned from my wife is very interesting. What I noticed was that when I spoke to her and we were having a strong disagreement and I could see she was getting angry, I noticed that she would keep muttering under her breath, like saying something. So I asked her after some time, saying, "Hey Suniti, what do you do? Why were you muttering under your breath when we were doing that?" She said, "Nitin, I do it because otherwise I'll say something in anger and regret it. So what I do is I count to 20 or 25 under my breath, and I wait till that moment passes so that I don't say." How beautiful. So we are all human. We all get negative emotions. We all get ticked off by something or the other, okay, once in a while. But the mature thing to do is to exercise impulse control, not react based on that emotion, and let the moment pass so that you can take a step back and have a more productive conversation where you can talk about your emotions rather than acting on them, and then figure out why that incident happened, get to the bottom of it, and find a solution without damaging the relationship. So these are the three areas. So learn impulse control, recognize when you tend to give in to impulses or temptations, and exercise some of these techniques to see if you can do better, not give in to temptation, delay gratification, and you will start seeing a huge difference in your effectiveness. It's easier said than done, but if we work on it, we can do it. So all the best to you. Try it, see what happens. If you like my videos, make sure you subscribe. Press the subscribe button and subscribe so that you get notified when another one has been posted. Leave comments if you like what I'm saying. If you don't agree with something or have another perspective, another suggestion, do write in the comments. See you next time.